Well, Goldwater itself is a public policy think tank. We're focused on promoting individual liberty, limited government, and my area of specialty obviously is in education. And I think the United States is a country founded on the idea of equality of opportunity, and I think nothing helps secure that more than education. So it's an area that I've been interested in since college, with a background in economics, taking courses back in school on education policy, working with organizations on education policy, and sort of working through a number of different areas, spending some time in the private sector, time in the public sector. Before I came to Goldwater, I spent several years working for the state of Arizona on education policy. So looking at the funding, the finances, the legislation around that, which I think is not quite as flashy as some of the policy discussions that necessarily happen we hear in the news in Washington, and yet when you're actually looking at the specifics, the nuance, all the nuts and bolts that go into education funding, for instance, and so many of the conversations about education policy come down to dollars, come down to how is the money being spent? Is it going to the student? Is it going to a bureaucracy? And so having an appreciation, a background in that, I think is hugely helpful. And so my experiences both in the state and having worked with schools in the past, charter schools for instance, and seeing how they have performed, working with them to look at their data and try and figure out, are our programs working? Are the remedial summer programs helping students, advance? And so this idea of actually translating broader policy goals of providing education and then sort of a hands-on in the field, in the trenches, getting a sense of what's actually working for students, to take all that and now apply that to the work that we do at Goldwater to help make sure that students have access to educational options, to have a funding formula that's based upon the needs of students, and to make sure that we're prioritizing kids' education and not institutions or a system.